Now, to light the oil lamp, may we cordially invite Dr. N.L.A. Karunaratne, Vice Chancellor, University of Jayewardenepura, Professor T. Savitharana, Honorable Chief Guest, Minister of Science and Technology, Professor P. Athukorala, Dean, Faculty of Arts, Professor Ajit Abesekara, Dean, Faculty of Applied Sciences, Dr. Sampath Amratunga, Dean, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, Professor Jayewardene, Dean, Faculty of Medical Sciences, Professor Swarna PhD, Dean, Faculty of Graduate Studies.
Professor Nalal Vanasuria, Professor G. A. Kamdirikoda, Mr. W. A. Jayewardenepura, Professor Nalin Silva, Mr. Jayewardenepura, Registrar, University of Jayewardenepura, and Mrs. Chandra Anatunga, Versa, University of Jayewardenepura.
And also we would like to have the presence of Secretary, Minister of Higher Education, Mrs. Malani Piris.
Since there is enough space in the front row those who are sitting at the back to come to the front and sit. Now I would like to invite Chancellor, Venerable Professor Jayewardenepura, Chief Guest, Professor Mr. Vikarana, Minister of Science and Technology, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Jayewardenepura, and Professor Swarna PSD, Dean, Faculty of Graduate Studies, the members of the table to come on stage.
Dear Sir, Dr. Jayewardenepura, the Vice Chancellor of the University, let me invite you to address the gathering.
Chancellor of the University of Jayewardenepura, Venerable Professor Jayewardenepura, Venerable Dr. Jayewardenepura, and Reverend Sirs, our Chief Guest, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Professor Mr. Vikarana, our Secretary, Madam Marley Pires, Minister of Higher Education, Deans of all the faculties, distinguished invitees, all my colleagues of the university and all the members of the non-academic staff, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to have the honor to welcome all of you to the 50th Anniversary Academic Conference 2009 on behalf of the Sri Jayewardenepura University. The conference on Buddhism, Science and Development has brought together prominent scholars, foreign and of Sri Lankan universities and other institutions. On this occasion, I would like to warmly welcome Chancellor of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, Venerable Professor Jayewardenepura and Venerable Dr. Jayewardenepura of the USA and Reverend Sirs. I would also like to welcome Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Professor Mr. Vikarana, for accepting our invitation in gracing this occasion as the Chief Guest. As all of you are aware, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of our university in 2009, and this conference is one of the most important events. Thus, it is the high time to explore new spheres and have a fruitful academic discussion on new knowledge for the well-being of the future of this country. In that regard, we are fortunate to have Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Professor Mr. Vikarana, who was one of our pioneering academic members in our Faculty of Medical Sciences. In addition, we always keep friendly relations with other universities and higher education institutions and other Sri Lankan leading national and private sector institutes. We note Our Secretary, Madam Iris, has arrived, and you are warmly welcome, Madam, for your participation for academic conference. While looking over the agenda, I see scholars of the University of Jayewardenepura as well as those who have joined us from other universities and institutions all over Sri Lanka, who will take the podium in different sessions to share their latest thinking and expertise in various fields. On behalf of the University of Jayewardenepura, I wish to extend a warm welcome to all of them to the 50th Anniversary Academic Conference. Due to your participation, this conference will be consistent with productive intellectual discussions of all-round disciplines which would enhance each other's knowledge beneficially. We are extremely pleased to have you with us for the conference, and your presence is in fact encouraging. An intellectual discussion would not be fruitful without an enthusiastic audience who are highly motivated to gain new knowledge and experience. On behalf of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, I am glad to welcome all the scholars, academics and non-academic members and beloved students for the 50th Anniversary Academic Conference 2009 on behalf of the Sri Jayewardenepura University, and I am sure that you will be able to explore new spheres of knowledge through this conference. Let me speak a few words about our university and its activities. This university was first established as the Jayewardenepura in 1873 by Most Venerable Ikadus Mangala Nayakatara with the view to protect and nurture the Sri Lankan heritage and culture. Later in 1956, the Pirivana was upgraded to a university status by the name of Jayewardenepura University. Most Venerable Velivike Soratha Nayakatara was appointed the first Vice Chancellor. Jayewardenepura University was transformed to a university campus of the University of Ceylon in 1972. Jayewardenepura campus was transformed to the University of Sri Jayewardenepura in 1970. We are having this name. As any other university, the Sri Jayewardenepura University has gradually evolved over a period of time and has eventually become a well-established seat of learning with a culture and grandeur peculiar to it. Now, it is not only a university establishment, but also a unique institution of higher education in Sri Lanka. Finally, I take this opportunity to appreciate the immense cooperation given by the university community and thank the distinguished scholars for coming together today to share your ideas, discoveries, and most importantly, your enthusiasm. To be engaged at the national level, we must continue to build genuine, reciprocal partnership in settings such as this. I wish the conference all success, and I firmly believe that the University of Sri Jayewardenepura will move steadily towards becoming a well-recognized university that will have a significant impact on educating our students and strengthening the human resource base of Sri Lanka. I thank all the staff members and participants for your sincere support and wholeheartedly wish you all the best. Thanks to our technological advancement, this event is open for international community. Through the internet, they are also able to participate and learn from us. I kindly request them to make use this opportunity to know about our university and gain what you can from our university to the maximum level. In addition, now I conclude my welcome address, and after this welcome address, I have to deliver another address. It is based on my personal experience as the Vice Chancellor as well as a student in this university and as a lecturer in this university. The topic of my address is Buddhism for the healthy living of senior executive officers. During the short period of 15 minutes, the virtues of the Buddhist teaching will be explained by me after having practiced them seriously from 1990. The teachings of Lord Buddha should not be confined to our thought and imagination. Instead, it should be practiced avidly if we are to bear the fruits of this philosophy. The ultimate outcome being one reaching the state of enlightenment or Nibbana. The virtues of the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, are very well known to Buddhists all over Sri Lanka. These virtues are explained in the Gathas, Itipiso, Swakato and Supatipanna. Attaining these virtues through the conduct ourselves in the usual day-to-day activities of our monotonous lives may prove impossible. Instead, a radical change within us must facilitate this attainment. This process is very rigorous, cumbersome and serious. However, if one chooses to endure this hardship, they can be assured of attaining these virtues. However, as lay people, it is difficult for us to lead a life enriched with the qualities mentioned in the above Supatipanna Gatha or stanza, similar to the conduct of the Buddhist monk. Fortunately, there are a number of ways and means which prove to be valuable, helpful, productive and practical for lay people to embrace the teachings of the Lord Buddha. Senior executive officers of large institutions in particular can benefit immensely while leading a good life and maintaining a good well-being. Modern day senior executive officers are exposed to highly stressful environment now. A battle to remain viable in the highly competitive corporate environment while striving to achieve the objectives of the organization can cause severe mental burdens on such individuals. Moreover, heavy workloads, deliberate disruption in work routine, corruption, and unwholesome activities in the institutes are some of the aspects that senior executive officers are exposed on a daily basis. In the process of striving for organizational efficiency, effectiveness, high performance, and high productivity in a highly competitive corporate setting, SEOs are driven through painstaking hardship to achieve institutional goals as set in their corporate plan. It would be quite easy to reach this ambitious goal if they access abundant resources. However, the reality is quite the opposite, with human and physical resource scarcity creating unnecessary and unmanageable problems in the institute. Consequently, SCOs have to bear and solve all these institutional problems at the expense of their health and well-being. Why do we have mental stress? You might ask. It is because we have our ego and egocentric way of dealing with life. Ego and egocentric behavior creates a self-image within ourselves that inevitably leads to mental suffering. According to the Buddha's teaching, there is no permanent self or ego in reality. Permanent self or ego is an illusion, and because of this illusion or false vision, an individual is persuaded to think that there exists I, my, and myself as a permanent entity. Furthermore, SEOs also think and behave in this direction and try to maintain a weak self-image in general. False vision in oneself creates all sorts of problems, while true vision solves them. All the teachings of the Lord Buddha show us the vanity of the self and virtues of the non-self. The realization of the non-self is easier for Buddhist monks through insight or vipassana meditation, but it may be quite difficult for SEOs in his or her daily routine to be able to have such insight through these rigorous meditative practices that most Buddhist monks utilize. However, SEOs can observe Panchasila 5% daily and practice meditation where possible, which is extremely helpful to maintain a calm mind, thus enabling them to perform their jobs with the least of mental burden. In this process, their CEOs will be able to lead a healthy life as well. I will explain the virtues of the Buddhist teaching, which helped me immensely to perform my duties without mental stress as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Jayewardenepura through my personal experience. Present day situations of SEOs or Senior Executive Officers. Senior executive officers are working either for the public or private sector organizations. They have to operate within the confines of existing laws, rules and regulations, and must also depend upon their subordinates, colleagues, seniors, political views, systems, etc. to achieve organizational goals and objectives. It is no secret that high responsibility and accountability, uncertain work priorities, excessive workload, unexpected transfers, differences of opinion with seniors and politicians create various problems for the CEOs. In addition to these burdens, they may face family and social pressure and compulsion. Cumulative effects of all these result in tension, anxiety, feelings of helplessness, fear, frustration, anger, hostility, etc., which can adversely affect the quality of their lives. In such environment, the lives of the CEOs are stressful in general. Remedial action for positive change in reducing stress and strain to increase efficiency, strengthening of integrity, etc. are the most common issues discussed by the CEOs today. The decline in mental health due to severe job-related stress is becoming a major concern nowadays. Therefore, policymakers need to consider the consequences of these problems seriously in their policy formulation process. Efforts are being made continuously to implement the reforms related to administrative systems by way of training programs and workshops, with special attention being given to the higher level reform. However, success of these activities cannot be achieved merely by imparting management skills or through lectures, sermons, disciplinary actions, punitive measures, etc. History is replete with the failures of such attempts. Reforms can be achieved only when each individual is reformed. In order to transform an institute as a better working place, through reforms, Buddhist teachings can be implemented efficiently, effectively, and productively. Ego and egocentric behaviors create all kinds of problems for various people. When SEOs waste this ego to make decisions in the course of their job, unnecessary, unexpected, and unwanted problems arise and continue in the organization. Consequently, SEOs, as well as their colleagues and subordinates, have to suffer at the expense of their health and well-being. Therefore, if SEOs want to secure a healthy living, their egocentric behavior should be transformed through non-egocentric activities. All the teachings of the Lord Buddha are directed to reduce the power of the ego or to annihilate it. If SEOs can practice these teachings, at least to a certain extent, they will be able to empower and develop their tolerance capacity to face any kind of problem without facing mental agonies which deteriorate their healthy living. I, as the Vice Chancellor of this university, have to go through all the problems and consequences mentioned earlier. I am happy to say that so far I have not experienced any kind of mental stress or strain during my Vice Chancellor career. Why? Because I am practicing few of the highly effective, efficient and productive Buddhist teachings since 1990. Therefore, even though I have to face various severe problems, I am able to face them with a light-hearted manner, with a smiling face. The practice of Buddhist teachings. Moral conduct or sila is essential, and this is the foundation for the practice. As a layman, observing the following 5 precepts, one can build a strong foundation for the practice of mental exercise or meditation, through which one can tame or completely annihilate the ego and egocentric behavior. The 5 precepts or rules are abstention from killing, abstention from stealing, abstention from sexual misconduct, abstention from lying, and abstention from taking any intoxicant. If we violate these rules, we agitate and defile the mind. An agitated mind cannot proceed the path of self-exploration. Therefore, the observance of Sila is the foundation for the practice of meditation. After observing the Sila, meditation related to the awareness of respiration of Anapanasati, meditation involves us to observe the continuous flow of the incoming and outgoing breath. This helps the person to gain a greater control over his mind. Furthermore, this promotes awareness of the present moment, equanimity and tranquility of mind. Since respiration is a universal object, anyone can use it to develop concentration or samadhi. Through this meditation, the mind becomes more concentrated and calm, thus enabling the person to practice insight or vipassana meditation, which removes the roots of all mental impurities. There are many meditations for us to practice vipassana, enabling us to weaken the power of the ego and the egocentric behavior, while increasing the tolerance capacity of SCOs to face any kind of mental or physical agony in a neutral manner. According to my experience, meditation of universal loving kindness helps develop the power, potential and ability to tolerate and deal with any kind of group or an individual. This helps us make decisions and judgments objectively, thus avoiding passion for friendly persons and prejudice for unfriendly ones. This kind of behavior of the SEO is highly appreciable and reasonable and due them high credibility and power. Another effective form of meditation for the SEOs is the walking meditation technique, which is quite common in Sri Lanka. Walking meditation is one of the most widespread form of Buddhist meditative practice and has the advantage that it can be done anytime while we are walking. It is sometimes used as a way to break up periods of sitting meditation, giving the body a rest, but it frequently done as a meditation practice in its own right. This meditation technique is very pragmatic for the SEOs as it can be practiced within the daily routine of their hectic lives. We have placed SEOs varies according to their character and nature. Buddhist teaching provide different meditation techniques and according to the character and qualities of the person, the right meditation technique should be selected and practiced. Thereby one can achieve the desired goals with ease. Buddhism explains us that there is no permanent soul or person called I. I does not exist as a permanent entity. I is not real. I exist as an accepted truth, but there is no I in reality. Real nature of I is impermanent, suffering and no soul. We accept that I exist as a permanent entity and accordingly we develop our ego and maintain an egocentric behavior. By practicing insight meditation, we can realize the real nature of I and thereby we can reduce our ego and egocentric activity. This process really helps SEOs to maintain a very healthy and strong mind, enabling them to lead a life without mental stress. Therefore, Buddhist teachings can be practiced by SEOs if they want to have a healthy living while functioning all the difficult tasks assigned to them with no mental and physical stress. The research activities related to vipassana meditation have been conducted in different countries. Some Indian researchers have studied the relationship between government administrative officers and vipassana meditation. The following, I can show the table. I have a table here. In the table, in the graph, there are information and data and analysis and analytical data which shows us that there is a positive correlation between the vipassana meditation and the positive development of the officers. I hope my brief speech gave you something deep to think about. Buddhist philosophy, when viewed outside the context of general religion, as in many other religions, can be applied to every facet of our lives in a pragmatic manner. This philosophy, when practiced eagerly, can be very effective not only within the confines of the working life, but also in the family life as well. Administrative officers, CEOs in particular, can benefit immensely from these teachings. Being able to deal with the hardships and stresses within a corporate setting is very degrading on the physical body, but if one learns to deal with these difficulties through the utilization of Buddhist teaching, he can overcome these obstacles in a less stressful manner that would ultimately lead to a more healthy and more enjoyable life. I just explained the experience I have gone through and experience I obtained through my practice related to Buddhist activities, the activities related to the Buddhism, and I hope that if one practice genuinely these things, there is no disease called mental stress or mental agonies in this world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Venerable Professor Jayewardenepura, Chancellor of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, I invite you respectfully to address this gathering.
Venerable Sirs, Vice Chancellor, members of academic staff and non-academic staff, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Professor Jayewardenepura, and invited distinguished guests, dear friends. This is rather a rare event, and I am very happy to be here today as the Chancellor of this university to address a few words to this distinguished gathering of academic community. I say that this kind of event is not only rather rare but quite memorable because this is an academic conference to commemorate 50th anniversary of Sri Jayewardenepura University. I wish to express my sincere appreciation of the dedication and commitment of those who work for the success of this seminar. The theme of this seminar is Buddhism, Science and Development. It is clear that this covers a very wide area involving deep study. Today, however, I do not intend making a long speech on this subject. I will make only a few observations for your consideration and reflection. When taken the face of it, Buddhism, science and development appear to be three disconnected areas. But the closer perusal shows that there are certain alignments and linkings among these three. Primarily, all three above subjects are man-centered and therefore all have much relevance to life. Both Buddhism and science encourage the scientific approach to life, and consequently also to development, which is too vital and related to human life. Both Buddhism and science are concerned with reality, though their purposes and goals are different. Both are empirical in their approach to problems of life, in spite of certain obvious differences. Being modeled by such purposes, goals and approaches, man's attitude to development also displays certain features of commonality. Unlike, therefore, now Buddhism is no longer looked upon as a religion meant only for the renouncers for the well-being of next life. It is for both the renouncers, Pabbajita, and for the pleasure-enjoying householders, Gihi Kama Bhogi. Hence, development, both material and spiritual, are of importance. This makes Buddhism quite relevant to human development and progress. This is very much so on this present world where science, along with its allied technology, is taking long strides as never before. In this situation, it is seen that the man is becoming more and more confused regarding how he could manage his life. That is to make the best use of Buddhism, science, especially technology, and development, to improve the quality of his life and lead a life full of contentment. In such a context, fundamental Buddhist teachings, especially those more related to lay life, could be very effectively used. Most of these teachings form vibrant aspect of Buddhist social ethics and philosophy, could be very rightly described as an effective means of socialization of the individual, enabling him to understand the problem he is encountered with and find ways and means to unfetter himself from the suffering he has created for himself due to his inability to face secretly the onslaught of science and technology, and also the misconceptions pertaining to development. If we are to limit the concept of development to the life of lay, then it is quite clear that it is concerned about material development, which in the case of lay provides a continual background for spiritual development. It is an accepted fact that with regard to the lay practice of the path, Buddhism sees a close link between economic stability and spiritual inclination. Economic stability provides the required mental rest for such pursuits. It is in this sense that one should understand the Buddhist position, which was the poverty is a misery for the pleasure-enjoying householders. The inner sutta of the Anguttara Nikaya states this directly and clearly: Dalidyam dukkhaṃ lokasmiṃ kāma bhūti. This sutta goes into explain how poverty makes one fall into debt, disrupting his whole life. Therefore, Buddha emphasized the need of elevating poverty by working hard and righteously, protecting the righteously earned wealth from natural calamities and also from avenues of waste of wealth. Bhoga apaya mukha, that is mentioned in one of the famous suttas which is called Jayewardenepura. And then spending this righteously earned and well-protected wealth in a wise manner. The Jayewardenepura Sutta and other suttas lays down very practical guidance for this. Here one should understand that while Buddhism urges the followers to overcome poverty and acquire wealth, it does not advocate amassing of wealth and blindly getting involved in the rat race to reach the top rung of the economic ladder, employing any means of long as it justifies the end. It is into this pitfall the majority fall in this context of unprecedented advancement in science and technology, giving rise also to lopsided conception of development. It is to prevent individuals from running after development which is measured on the basis GNP, per capita income, personal affluency, possession of luxuries and such things, that Buddhism offers a new concept of development. This Buddhist concept of development is constituted of a fine blend of spiritual and material progress. This concept is well defined in Dvichakku Sutta of the Anguttara Nikaya. Therein reference is made to individuals who are totally blind. Those blind in one eye and those in possession of two eyes. These are the three persons mentioned in that particular text. The first type of person is not concerned with both spiritual and material progress. The second type concerned with only one aspect, that is either spiritual progress or material progress. The third are those concerned equally about both aspects. Buddhism presents the third type as the one to be emulated. When development is understood in this holistic sense, it is possible for one to utilize teachings of Buddhism and the effects of progress of science in a very beneficial manner, harnessing them for the development of quality of life. It is this kind of proper understanding of the concept of development that will assure one's safe journey in this era of globalization, consumerism, and overwhelming pervasive of utter selfishness. Such an understanding will help one to be without succumbing to attempting browse by media, both electronic and print. It will help one to refrain from exploiting the fellow beings. Not only that, it will also urge one to abstain from exploitation of the environment and natural resources, which is a grave menace now. This sort of proper understanding of what development is will make one gradually resort to Buddhist ethical teachings that will show the way to distinguish between one's needs and wants. It is this mixing up of needs and wants that lands one in utter misery and suffering. Avoiding such confusion, one will be able to lead a balanced life, utilizing the beneficial effects of science and technology to improve condition of life. He will understand that happiness depends not on the amount of wealth and possessions, but on the contentment one experience. This is why Buddhism says that contentment is the highest happiness. Santutti paramang dana. In an individual leading such a contented life will enjoy 4 kinds of happiness. These are Atti Sukha, that is happiness one experiences when one knows that this is enough. Bhoga Sukha, happiness experience when enjoying without any obstruction one's righteous position. Ananda Sukha, happiness one experiences when one knows that he is not in debt. Anavajja Sukha, that is the most important one, happiness one experiences when one reflected back and realized that he has not engaged in any wrongdoing when making his living. It is a person who leads this kind of contented life, enjoying happiness, that could be described as a really development, enjoyment of this kind of contented, and happiness is the goal of Buddhist concept of development. When one understands development in this sense, one will be able to make proper use of Buddhist teachings and reap the benefit of advancement in science. Such development would be sustained for long. This will lead not only to the development of the individual, but of the whole society. This development will not be only relevant to the present, but to the future too. In fact, to the stability and development of the whole future generation. It is such development that could be properly described as sustained development. It will be seen that if Buddhist ethics and social philosophy are properly understood and sincerely followed, we could very well use science as an effective means of development and not become its slave. I hope I have spoken enough and perhaps bored you to an extent. However, thank you very much for the patient hearing given. Before I conclude, I wish to thank again all those who are working hard to keep this event alive. I wish you all success.
I respectfully thank the Cathedral. Now let me have the honor of inviting the Chief Guest, Professor Jayewardenepura, Minister of Science and Technology, to address the gathering.
Reverend Professor Jayewardenepura, Vice Chancellor of the University of Jayewardenepura, Reverend Sirs, Dr. N.L.A. Karunaratne, Chancellor, Dr. N.L.A. Karunaratne, Vice Chancellor of the University, the Dean of the Faculty of Public Administration, the other deans of the different faculties, the professors, lecturers, other academic and non-academic staff, students, the Secretary of the Ministry of Higher Education, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me congratulate the university on celebrating 50 years of existence by having this most interesting and stimulating academic session, and for having invited me to be present with you here today. I consider it a great honor and a privilege. I would like, in my comments, to take off from where Professor Jayewardenepura, the Chancellor, stressed the importance, the role that Buddhism can play in achieving genuine development. I think that is the type of development that our country, that our world needs. He also spoke about the differences between science and Buddhism. I think increasingly those differences are disappearing. For instance, the fundamental nature of matter, down to the atoms, to the fact that there are electrical charges, the fact that there are waves in motion, and that basically matter is related to energy, is now common to both concepts. The differences that existed within the different disciplines, for instance, are fast disappearing. For instance, physics, chemistry, mechanics, mathematics, and now nanoscience, where manipulation and commonality is being reached at those nanoparticle levels. If you look at science from not a mechanistic perspective, but from a dialectical perspective, it becomes evident that matter and mind go together. For instance, Engels, in his Dialectics of Nature, said that mind is the highest form of matter. And the difference basically lies in the fact that, according to Buddhist teaching, the separateness of the mind as a different form of energy, as a higher form of energy, which can exist apart from matter, has not been conclusively proven and accepted by science. But I think that everything that Buddhism has said, science has accepted. It is only the fact that here the question of proof, experimentation becomes difficult. But as more and more people study stories of rebirth and they go into the questions of hypnotism and regression, more and more evidence is being built up in the scientific world to accept the theories of rebirth. So I think that there are no serious differences and we need to harness science and Buddhism for achieving the optimal development that is possible of not only humankind but of all living things that the Reverend Chancellor brought out in his lecture, and we need to achieve that development as speedily as possible. Unfortunately, the tremendous development that we have seen in the world, the economic development, social development, has been through the capitalist economic system, which has not only led to development but it also brought the world closer together and enabled the advances of science and technology to be brought out for the benefit of humankind. But unfortunately, there is, shall we say, the negative aspect of capitalism, which has increasingly become more and more evident. Not only the motivation of greed and profit, but the very system itself is now reaching crisis point and is in danger of collapsing and precipitating the world maybe into another world war, into deep economic, social and political crisis. The basis of this is that capitalist society is a class society, and basically the capital that is generated through the efforts of people, whether they be at management level, at funding level, going down to technology level, to level of labor, whether it is mental labor or manual labor, all these levels, you find that the capital that is generated through their efforts is usurped by one class, the capitalist class. So you find very uneven development. Large sections of the world are lacking capital, and therefore, due to the lack of capital, they are unable to invest in technology to get the services of the best scientists, the best experts, the best management, the best skilled personnel to develop their economies. These are concentrated in a few rich countries, and that is why, despite the advances of science in the era of globalization, UN figures clearly show that the gap between the rich countries and the poor countries has widened. We know that the levels of poverty today, more than 1 billion, that is 1,000 million people on this planet are suffering from hunger and malnutrition. The others, as Buddha said, there is no point in preaching to a hungry man because he cannot take it, however good the substance of what you are preaching is. So we have to solve these problems. And if you look at